Hello and welcome to this session. My name is Bharani. I represent XLR and today we'll be discussing about calculated fields and LOD, right? Let us get started and try to discuss about a few calculated fields even before we get started. As part of the previous part 1 of calculated fields, we already have Saujanya, I'll be sharing the recording by putting that on the YouTube channel of us. So that should not be a problem. Okay. Saujanya had a question, so I have to answer that. Anyways, all right. So let us first try to answer this. There was a little confusion, I believe, in the part 1, wherein we were not able to effectively crack on what -1 means in this particular formula of converting your customer name into a proper case. And we had some confusion around structure, post which we will discuss this also, post which we'll discuss about Zn lookup functions and followed by LOD expression. Yep, and we will be discussing about what do we mean by fixed, include, exclude. We'll be looking into date truncate function as part of the fixed level of detail expression. That would be the first half, and as and how we move forward, we'll be discussing about the various other concepts as well. Let me take you all to Tableau worksheet and let me explain you all on what this particular function here means, which is upper, left, so on and so forth. Here we have the Tableau file here. Let me click on OK. Yeah. So I'll connect to this Tableau field example. Let me right click on that and say view data. The moment I show you this view data, if you look at the names of the various customers in the first column, you see the name of John and Carol, which is in proper case, but this particular name is not in proper case. Why is that so? Can anyone say? Why is that not in proper case? What is wrong with that? Absolutely. The first letter is not in capital. Absolutely. What's wrong with this? Carlos, everything is in caps. Rich, everything is in caps. So on and so forth. So a few of the words here are not in proper case. What do I do if I were to bring those back to proper case? Yeah. For that, you need to write the simple function. Let me close this and write a calculated field by going to analysis, create calculated field. Here I'm going to write proper case. Yeah, because that is what I'm writing. I'm writing a function to represent that. Upper stands for converting everything to an uppercase. Do I want everything in a name to be in uppercase? Absolutely no. I want the leftmost alphabet to be in caps. So I give this function called left and say customer first name, right? Since I want starting from the left only the first entry, I would say comma 1 because I want only the first alphabet to be in uppercase starting from the left. And then I'm going to add the lowercase also because I want rest of the alphabets except for the first alphabet to be in lowercase. And I want to start from the right basically of the customer first name, comma. I want to traverse the entire length of the customer name. So I will say customer first name, or let me bring this down to the next level. All right, this makes sense a bit. And I would also mention -1 here. Why am I using -1? I'll explain you all in just a moment from now. Let me apply and click on OK. Here is where proper case, the calculated field that we have created resides. So I'm going to drag first the original name, original field in the dataset, which has names of the customers not in proper case. Now that we have created a function for proper case, let me drag this calculated field and place it here. Now you see that everything is in proper case. But everything is fine except for that -1, right? So let me edit this, copy entire thing, and let me create another calculated field. And this time I would say proper case 2. And here I'm going to say -2. Let us see what happens here. Let me click on, or yeah, first let me do it with -2. Apply and OK. Now if I drag and drop this proper case 2 and drop it here, you might notice that the second alphabet is getting deleted, right? The second alphabet of Bill, I, is getting deleted. Second alphabet of Carlos, A, is getting deleted. And now let me create another calculated field. I would say proper case 3. This time I would remove this -1 also and provide absolutely no arguments, pass absolutely no arguments in this function when it comes to length. Yeah, apply and click on OK. Let me drag this proper case 3 and drop it here. Once again, let me minimize this GoToMeeting link. All right, now it should work. That's surprising. Let me otherwise remove this and try to put this. Okay, look at that. If I do not provide that -1, what has happened is the function that you have written has taken the first alphabet of the first name starting from the left, right, B, and it has placed it in caps because of this upper, and it is adding entire customer name which is towards the right, and it's converting that into lowercase basically, and you have traversed until the length of the customer name basically. So what you have done is you have taken the customer name starting from the right and you have converted entire thing into lowercase, and you have traversed through the entire length of the customer first name, and then you have added this to already created first alphabet which is in caps. So this particular function, upper left customer name, has actually created, or it would actually return you the first alphabet of the first name in caps, this part of the function. And then this part of the function, starting from the right, throughout the length of the customer name, it would traverse, convert everything into the lowercase, and add these two because there's a plus sign. Because of that, you see C. Carlos, right? The first alphabet of the first name and entire name in small. In order to get rid of that, we use the function -1. -1 would actually delete this. This proper case that you see here, the function, right, has -1. So it has deleted this lowercase. And what did it delete in this lowercase? It has deleted the first alphabet of the lowercase. Hope you guys are able to understand me. All right, perfect. Someone told no. Vasanta, didn't you understand? All right, perfect. So let me close this. Now let me get back to this presentation. There is another function called as STR that we will have to be comfortable with. So let me create another worksheet. And this time I would connect to sample superstore dataset. Say I drag and drop quantity. We have quantity here. If I drag and drop quantity here on the rows, it would take the summation of all the numbers. So if you look at the data set, look at this data set. Here we have quantity, right? We have all these numbers. All these numbers are added, and the total summation of this quantity is appearing here as a bar. If I create a calculated field called string, and if I say str of quantity, let me apply, click on OK. Here we have string. Now if I remove this quantity and put this string here, a number, a measure, a numerical value, right, has been converted into a non-numerical value. Now if I drag this and drop it on the rows, do you see this? Do you notice? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 until 12. So it has created the entries which were earlier numerical into a string. The moment you convert something into a string, it would not give you the summation from here on. It will directly give the numbers in this fashion. And if you see the underlying data set, you would see that the numbers of quantity vary from 1, and this is sorted in the ascending order. Now if I click once again, it's sorted in the descending order. So 1 until 14, right? Those are the numbers which you are able to see here. That is part of your, now that is a kind of explanation that I have towards STR. Now let us look into these functions called ZN and lookup. Before that, Santosh has a question. How to use this concept to split a variable? I really did not understand that question, Santosh. Is your question on how to split a specific variable? If that's your question, for example, here, let me open a new sheet. Here is customer name. Let me drag and drop it here. You have the first name and the last name. If you want to split this, all you have to do is do a right click, go to transform and split. The moment you split, here you have the first name and the last name. You can look at that. Here is the first name and here is the last name. Okay, we've already discussed this as part of part 1, Santosh. Okay. You can edit this and actually rename this. Yeah. This is how you can actually split a specific variable into 2 parts. All right. Now let us move on. If you have numerical values, Nalini, it is going to give distinct numbers, absolutely. So Santosh, have you attended previous session by any chance? Yeah. So in that we have already done that, I believe. So what we have done is, say, because this is a different session altogether, I'm just wondering on, yeah, look at this. We have a minus sign, you can separate using that. Okay, but the question is about a product ID or a customer ID. What do you mean by without separators? I didn't quite get you.
Bharani, if can I speak on?
Yeah, yeah, please go ahead.
If the product ID is something like let's say a pharmaceutical product in a hospital, okay, it says that the product belongs to a pharmaceutical category, which is first three letters may be category, so it may say PHA, and the next few one or two characters there may speak about the subcategory of the product, which may be a digestive tract drug or a cardiovascular drug or so. So therefore, it can be CA or GI and so on. And the next few three or four digits can speak about the specialty, maybe gastroenterology, cardiology, cardiothoracic surgery, and so on. And finally, the product serial number itself. So, product ID will have 3-4 attributes to it. This is practiced by many organizations in their product ID and managing their inventory. Now, if I have to derive a particular information from that product ID, how do I split it? Using the length function or maybe
So,
whatever we
so are you
discussed
able
just now.
to see this, Santosh? Product type SKU?
Without any separators, it is a
See?
continuous number, a
Yeah.
b c 4 5 5 6 7 8 9, something like that.
All right, sure. We will discuss that. We will discuss that towards them.
Okay.
Okay. Now let us focus on ZN and lookup. What is a ZN and lookup, etc., right? For that, let me connect to the sample superstore dataset. Now, once we connect to the sample superstore dataset, I would first drag the order date and place it on the column shelf as part of step 1. And then we are going to drag the category and drop it on the rows shelf. Now, if I want to view sales for each and every category across the year, I'm going to drag sales measure and drop it on the text here. You see the sales values there. All right. Now, I want to look into the difference in sales. I want to calculate the difference in the sales. So focus on this. I'm going to create a calculated field now, and I'm going to name this as difference in sales. And here I'm going to write this function Zn. The moment you place your mouse cursor on Zn, it shows you this, that it returns an expression if it is not null. And what if the underlying data set has null, N-U-L-L, or no value in that? It is going to return 0. I'm assuming this is understood. Now let me do this. Let me create sum of sales, and I'm going to subtract this from sum of sales minus 1. So what does this function do? Okay, look up. Read this lookup. If you look up sum of profit comma first plus 2, it is going to give you sum of profit in the third row of the partition. Okay, you want sum of profit. First value plus 2 would give you sum of profit in the third row. First row plus 2 would obviously be the third row. Here it says offset variable. This offset is given as -1 in our scenario. Let me use this and then try to explain you on what happens behind the scenes. So we have just created a difference in sales. Let me drag it, and or let me just double click this. There we go. So what's happening with this particular function? Now let me go to this function and explain. We are taking the sum of sales, so this value 170518 for example, and I'm subtracting it from the sum of sales -1 means from the previous year. So I'm looking into the previous year. What do you think is the subtraction of 170518 minus 157193? What do you get when you subtract these two? What do you get, friends? 13325, absolutely, Shikha. So what am I trying to do? I'm trying to look into the sum of sales and I'm trying to subtract it from the previous year. For the year 2011, you do not have any previous year. Hence, there is no value here. For the year 2012, if you subtract the sales of the current year from the previous year, why previous year? Because I'm using -1. It is going to subtract from the previous year, and this is what I get. For the year 2013, you subtract 198901 from 170518. So if you subtract these two, you get 28,383. When you subtract these two, you get 16,486, so on and so forth. That is what this function is all about. No, it would not show that actually, Shikha. Because there is no value, this is how it is composed, that it's not going to calculate here. Otherwise, it has to return the same value, 157198. There is no previous value, right? So it doesn't know which value to subtract. Hence, it doesn't do so. Okay. So this is clear. Zn and lookup function. Perfect. Now, when it comes to level of detail expression, this is a new thing in Tableau. This expression always has curly braces. When you write a function, it always needs to have curly braces, right? And these are the few, or rather, these are the only 3 scope keywords that we have when it comes to LOD expression. I will try to explain you all date truncate function along with explaining about fixed level of detail. What do you mean by fixed level of detail? How to calculate that? All that we're going to do now. Okay. For fixed level of detail, I'm going to go to Tableau. LOD is level of detail. In order to explain level of detail, I'm going to the code and I'll try to run that code and then explain. Would that be okay? Sharif? Yeah. So, all right. Let me go to the Tableau workbook. Let me connect to sample superstore dataset. In order to create fixed, this is what we do. I'll go to analysis, create calculated field, and I'm going to just rename this as fixed LOD. This is what I'm trying to explain. In order to write this LOD, level of detail, you're getting into the depth of the data, maybe. Sorry. So we first need to start off with a curly brace, type fixed customer name, mm, or rather I will take region here. I want to compute basically sum of sales per region. For each and every region, I want to compute the sum of sales, for example. Then I'm going to fix the region and then say I want to calculate sum of sales. And I'll close the curly braces. All right. Now I'm going to rename this as fixed LOD, and then I'll click on apply and OK. If I now want to know sales by region, look at what happens. I'm going to drag region and place it on rows, and then I'm going to drag state and drop it beside your rows. So for each and every region, you see the state here. Now, if we drag this fixed LOD and drop it on the text, look at what happens. I thought of showing you all by placing probably first sum of sales. Okay, so let me remove this and try to drop sales here. The moment I drop sales, you see the sales for each and every state, for each and every region. But when I drag and drop this fixed LOD, what is it trying to do? It is trying to fix the sales for each region. Why is that so? Because that is what we have written here. We are saying that, hey, I want you to fix the region and just calculate the sum of sales. Right? And it is assigned across. Now, if you drag the region and drop it on the color, it's easier because for each and every region, you have a different color: central, east, south, and west. Now, yeah, it is sum of sales per region. That is what we were trying to calculate. Absolutely. Exactly. So this level of detail is actually fixing for all rows the same value. Okay. Now, here, the view level of the detail, the view that you see, the level of detail that you see is for each region. You see the sum of sales for all the states. Ideally, you should have seen the sales for each and every state in each and every region, but you're seeing the same value because you have fixed the level of detail. And you're saying you want to fix the region. If instead, if you would have used include keyword instead of fixed, right? If you would have just replaced it with include, right? I mean, I want you all to try out this. Just edit this and try to include, try to replace fixed with include. Try to do that. Either you can go to the calculated field and do that. Please try to do that along with me if you can. So I'm clicking on this. Instead of fixed, I'm going to return, or I'm going to write include. The moment we change this, let me apply and click on OK. Look at what has happened. Since you're using the level of detail called include, it is including each and every region, each and every state, and thereby you're getting different sales values for each and every value, for each and every row there. Include considers all the dimensions selected, absolutely. Okay, I also want to explain you all one small thing about your date truncate. Let us also do that. In this scenario, yes, Vikram. But I have one more scenario for include. We are not done. I just wanted to show you the difference.